It felt good. You know, we didn't feel like we deserved to win Friday. We certainly didn't. But we also didn't feel like it was a 5-1 game. You know, it wasn't a 5-1 game, and they were really opportunistic. I think they had 6 grade A scoring chances Friday and scored on 4. One of them wasn't even a scoring chance that they scored on. So the way the guys bounced back from being really frustrated going to Air Force, losing 2 games to a top 20 team, probably going to be a top 15 team when the rankings come out today, with what they did over the weekend up in Bemidji, and then against a team like Omaha on Saturday, after a really frustrating night Friday, to bounce back the way they did against a team of that caliber is a good sign. And it felt good. The guys just needed to feel that one time as a collective group, I think, that for us to take the next step.
Now, from Friday to Saturday, do you see anything in particular change? At all strategy change up, or was it more just the guys coming together and playing with that desperation you spoke about? I believe it was back in the UMass series when you said they were going to come out and give you everything they had on Saturday, just because playing desperate you don't want to get swept.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've proven we're a really tough team to sweep. I mean, even up at Air Force, I think they would tell you that that wasn't easy for them. You know, it was really hard for a team with their top 10 scores from the year prior to get 2 wins against us. And like I said, a team like Omaha with 8 NHL draft picks, they couldn't do it. So we've proven that we're tough to sweep, and our guys don't. Well, was one of our goals is to not get swept. So yeah, they played desperate Saturday, and they didn't come out desperate because we fell behind 2-0 early. But we finished hard and played really well the last 2 periods. And like I said, I think it hopefully will be a turning point for a young team, because it was the first time they got to feel really good about themselves in a setting like that. And really, it took us last year until New Hampshire and arguably Ohio State in January to feel that way. And that has to be contagious for a young team to work to get that feeling after a game. You got to want the feeling of victory and what that means collectively more than the feeling of the fear of losing. It's got to outweigh the joy of winning has to outweigh the fear of losing. And our guys got to feel what that is like in a really high pressure, big time setting in Omaha, and hopefully it translates.
You mentioned the Ohio State game. Can you just remind you of the Ohio State game, the way just the way it went down?
Yeah.
And potentially what you could get off of it?
It's a great question. Eerily similar, because the Friday night at Ohio State, I want to say we lost 6-1 and shots were even. We didn't deserve that kind of fate, and to put it bluntly, it pissed our guys off. And that's what happened again this weekend. We didn't feel like we deserved the outcome of a 5-1 game on Friday, and they woke up, really focused on competing like we can and like we asked them to do every time we take the ice, and then scored on an empty net goal, pulling our goalie to tie it up, and carried it over and won in a shootout. So eerily similar to the Ohio State series last year. And the good news is that it's October and it happened for us early this year. So hopefully we can parlay that into more success here real soon.
Did any of the players who were on the team last year mention Ohio State at all, how it might have felt like that? Did they make that connection too?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it. We talked about needing as a group and as a young team with only 2 seniors on it to and a lot of new guys to get that feeling after a game. And certainly it's no disrespect to UMass, but we expected to beat UMass. It was a home game. They have a really young team, even younger than us. So that win felt good, but it wasn't on the road. It was at home, and it was at a game that everyone in our room genuinely expected to win, and we did, so it felt good. But the big wins on the road in front of huge crowds and historically really strong programs like Omaha, who was in a Frozen Four recently, those are program defining wins. and moments that you really can build from. And that's what we have to use Saturday as, even though it technically goes down as a tie. It was a good moment for our kids, and they really came together from it. And I think we'll see more results.
You don't want to rely on an empty net goal. I mean, getting an empty net goal, but what was the execution of that just to make that?
Yeah.
Make that happen?
Well, we have a 6-on-5 setup that we run that has about 4 different variations to it, and they know it. And we actually challenged their go-ahead goal to put them up 4-3. We thought that he might have been offsides, and we were wrong, so we lost our timeout. So I used that pause and play as our timeout with about 6-7 minutes left to draw up what we wanted and tell the personnel who we were going to want on the ice, and just kind of manage the game from that point forward to get the right guys on the ice. And it was a gut. Alex Hicks kind of walked over to me, and we talked, and it was a joint gut between he and I that said, let's put our freshman D that, was the last kid to commit and walked on a month before the season started. He just played that well, and Max was out there and his third collegiate game on a 6-on-5, and he buried one, and it worked out. And last year it was a freshman at Ohio State, Tyler Bush, that did it. So, it was certainly set up and planned, and they executed it. That is now the fourth time in 6 games we had an extra attacker. That's how competitive we've been and close we've been to getting an equalizer there at the end, and 4th time was a charm, I guess.
Before you guys hit the road first to Air Force, you spoke about how this would be an opportunity to really bond on the road. How have you seen that so far? And then given that you guys are going to go out on the road for a 3rd time before you come back home, how have you seen the team sort of bond together? And has that led to maybe some improved play, or at least some closer relationships on the ice that you're seeing develop?
Yeah, I mean, road trips, you can kind of pose it any way you want, as a coach. And obviously, you want your team to come together through being together and sleeping together and eating together and kind of living together 24/7. When you go back to back to back like we are right now, we turn around Wednesday morning and go all the way about to upstate New York and play Colgate. If you're losing, you're sick of each other. If you're winning, then you love each other, right? And so we needed that. Our guys needed that with the way that the schedule was set up, going back to back to back and being on the road so much together. You got to feel good about yourselves. And again, we didn't feel like we were a 1-4 team. The hockey gods are fierce, and they were on our side on Saturday. But so I think that, again, made our guys feel good, and there's not a guy in a room that's not looking forward to getting on that plane now on Wednesday.
Even though it's a tie, is there an extra boost that you get from winning a shootout?
Absolutely. I mean, any situation like that, you look at the other team that didn't win the shootout, and they go into the room and it's silent, and they feel like they lost. And if you win it, you go into your room and you sing your victory song, and you give out whatever you give out to the game's player, and you treat it like a win. We've been on both sides of it. We played Brown last year in our Desert Classic and scored 8 goals, and somehow didn't manage to win that game, scoring 8 goals, and they beat us in double overtime in a 5-on-3 or a 3-on-3 double overtime, and our locker room was silent. It felt like a loss. It killed us. And had we scored in that game, we would have treated it and felt like a win. So it's crazy the tricks that it plays on your mind. College hockey is really, in my opinion, just stupid as far as overtime rules. It's different in every conference. It should be uniform. And if they make you play to an end, then you should get credit for a win. If you're going to get credit for a tie, then just end the damn thing after 5-on-5 and call it a day. But if you're going to play 3-on-3 or shootout or whatever you play, everybody should play the same thing, not pending conference to conference. And maybe you get credit for a win, and if it goes to a shootout, you get credit for a tie. But if you're playing to win, then we're going to treat it like it's a win.
Now looking at Colgate coming up, you guys split the series with them last year here watching them so far this year, what kind of stands out to you? And maybe given your history with them last year, for those that were here last year, does that sort of give you any bit of an edge in what you might see this week?
Yeah, I mean, Colgate's a good team. They were really young last year, like us, so they returned pretty much all of their impact guys, their goalie, they're all back. And we split with them, and so they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough to beat. They've got off to a pretty good start. Obviously, Coach Vaughn's been there, I think, 26, 27 years, so he's a seasoned vet, and he'll have them ready to go. They have a brand new building. It's only about a year old, so we're excited to go see that and play in it. And they're just a historically, good hockey program. So, I doubt they're, from what we can tell on film, we just got their film late last night, so we've been able to really dissect it as much as we will have, towards the end of the week. But not much has changed. Not much has changed, just like us from last year to this year. But they'll be good. They'll be a good test. Pleasant surprise, I think it's all the usual suspects that we really are counting on. I think for the most part, I would say, as from a freshman standpoint, consistently, Jacob Wilson has just been lights out. He's been lights out, and we had really high expectations out of him coming in, but he has been everything we thought he would be and more. He struggled a little bit on Friday, and he'd be the first to admit that. And he came back Saturday and with a bounce back effort that you would expect out of an upperclassman, not a freshman. And he's just so dedicated and committed, and you can tell how much it means to him when we have a good moment. He was the happiest guy in the room on Saturday, and the most disappointed in the room, arguably, the last 4 games prior to that. So he's a guy we can and will build this program around, and that's why he's here. So I would say he's been an awesome addition for us.
And for the newcomers to the program overall, for the road trips, the bonding, out off the ice, to ice time as well, have they grown to the point where you would want them to be at this point in the season?
I mean, it's still early. We're 6 games in, on a team that has 2 seniors on it. So we're focused on, and it's so cliche, but it's every day. Every day is a new day. Every day we want to get better. Every day we want to do something process-oriented that gets us to the end result that we're looking for. And you can't focus too much on wins and losses as a second-year program. So, that's a tough question to answer, but we're just focused on what's right in front of us. Every day we wake up, what we got to do to get better than we did the previous day, and we feel like we woke up today in a much better place than we did, last Monday at this point. So now we got to move forward. We got to put what's been done behind us and continue to move forward and improve, and the results will come. Good. Thanks.